There's some action-packed weather coming our way. Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us. Well, we've got some extreme weather on the way for New Zealand coming out of Australia as a big area of low pressure moves through Aussie, and with it comes a cold change. Before it arrives, New Zealand has got much hotter weather than usual for this time of the year, and it's fairly calm for now, but that is about to change. On the animated wind map today, we've added in there the temperatures. So it shows this afternoon the orange shading around the North Island where it's going to be quite hot, and through the South Island. But notice this cooler southerly coming in around Australia. That cold change, or cool change, is heading towards New Zealand this weekend in the South Island, and then it spreads further afield in the New Zealand area early next week. And there are some big temperature changes coming up. We've also got this low pressure zone out in the Tasman, more northerly winds coming in, so we're not about to get anything cold moving through just yet. But as that moves in, so too does the cloud cover, and so it's a little bit of one step forwards, one step backwards. Temperatures go up because of the northerlies, temperatures drop a little bit because of the incoming cloud cover. So, like I say, the departure from normal today, Wednesday, is pretty significant across New Zealand. This is the third day in a row that the entire country has basically been hotter than average, with some parts here around Marlborough and the mountains over 8 degrees above normal. What it doesn't show you on the map is actually around Central Otago, we could be seeing daytime highs getting closer to 30. The numbers you see here are just a few locations with the daytime highs. What's the more interesting area? The shaded parts in red, which show that the temperatures are over 4 to 8 degrees above normal, and in those dark shaded areas, over 8 degrees. So that's New Zealand, but look at Australia. The pink you're seeing here is the other end, more than 8 degrees below what is normally recorded at this time of the year. So Wednesday it builds, that's what we just showed you on the wind map. As we go to Thursday, it expands even further on Friday, and then as we head in towards Saturday, it does shrink a little bit, but it moves further east. So places like Sydney get the temperature drop. So that's the cold change that's coming towards New Zealand. And this is what happens on Saturday. So the departure from normal, again, you see that cold change arriving in the South Island on Saturday. Those areas are 3 to 8 degrees below normal. So at the moment, you're about 8 degrees above. You're going to be 3 or 4 below where you should be at this time of the year. But as you can see, the North Island on Saturday won't be impacted by that. It'll still be warmer than average. All right, so let's get into the forecast and explain what we just showed you. So here is the setup for Thursday. 2 big low pressure zones, one in the central southern part of Australia. Rainfall totals aren't too great. Around Alice Springs now, the bulk of that rain heading further to the east. There actually could be some flooding around the Brisbane area or just north of it or inland over the next few days as that low moves out to the east. This low is now on the way to New Zealand, and that will drive in some wet weather. But look at the airflow coming around from New Caledonia, Vanuatu, down and into the New Zealand area, so it won't be cold as we head into Thursday. By Friday, that low pressure zone that was through central Australia now is over Sydney. Big cold southerly winds, or cool southerly winds, coming in for Adelaide, Melbourne, Hobart, Sydney, Canberra, and later on Brisbane, but you can see there's still a fair bit of rain up there. Then that front moves into New Zealand, so Friday's a wet day across New Zealand, especially on the western side, and then later on around Southland as the first low pressure zone tracks by. Those big windy nor'westers, they'll be gale force in some parts of the South Island. That's the map we've got here for you. This shaded area shows gusts over 120 kilometres an hour. So it's the usual blustery winds. You know, when the Met Service put out a wind warning and they say winds of 120 or 140 k's an hour, quite often this is where they actually are, and then further down into the plains, not as strong. But every wind event is different, and sometimes they can push further out to the plains, which is why quite often you'll see a wind warning covering the whole region. Windy into the North Island as well as we head through Saturday. And we've also got a fair bit of rain on the way. This is the 3-day rainfall map kicking off from Friday. The areas in the blue, over 90, 100 millimetres, maybe 130 or 40 millimetres, maybe 200 millimetres in fact coming for the west coast over that 3-day period, and some heavy falls also down around Kapiti Coast. So just watch out for some possible slips and flooding as we go through the next few days. So the weekend looks like this. Low pressure now exits Australia on Saturday, but it's a wet day around New South Wales, ACT, and also getting down into Victoria. Tasmania doesn't look quite so bad. High pressure nearby, but it's a very weak high pressure zone. It's not going to be doing much, but that southerly change is there. That's why the temperatures are down on Saturday around the lower South Island. By Sunday, wow, what a different forecast. A storm. That's the one that's come out of Sydney storm. Right, so it comes out at 979 hectopascals, so that's quite deep. And that moves in with gale force winds coming through and pushing across the country. It's another wet day, and over in Australia, another cold burst coming back in. And then we get to Monday of next week. There is that big cold burst. A really big storm here, 971 hectopascals. That's a decent spring storm, driving in severe weather for Melbourne and Hobart, potentially for Sydney, and on the other side of the Tasman, Wellington and many eastern areas have strong gale force winds, rain or showers over on the western side. And by the way, this is also showing you the westerly winds returning to New Zealand. We haven't had them for a while. Later on next week, bit of high pressure, but next week looks very unsettled and colder. Single-digit daytime highs are coming back to the lower South Island by about Tuesday. So enjoy the warm weather over the next day or so. Make the most of it. Spring comes roaring back over the next few days, and a lot of people are going to be saying so much for spring, which is one of my most annoying sayings, because spring is all about this kind of weather. What you really mean to say is so much for summer, because summer's building, and then this is a reminder that, oh, that's right, it's technically not summer yet. That's all from me. Sorry for the long rant. See you tomorrow.